Assalamu alaikum. This is Sister Tameicsha, and I am here to work out a couple of problems for you all. And we're going to watch this tomorrow in class and review these problems as well. I am going to show you two different problems that I found in our workbook, possibly three. Um, and there's going to, depending on how the fraction or the problem looks, is going to determine how we work it out. So the very first problem that we're going to do is on page 118 in the 5th grade book. We are going to do 10 minus 5 and 4 tenths. So I'm going to go ahead and write that down. 10 minus 5 and 4 sevenths. I'm sorry, I said 5 and 4 tenths. 5 and 4 sevenths. So just to note a few things, I will tell you. So we're subtracting 5 and 4 sevenths from 10. Because 10 is a whole number, we cannot subtract a whole number and a fraction from a whole number. So the first step we're going to have to do is make our whole number a fraction. And to make the whole number a fraction, we're going to have to borrow from our whole number, and we're going to use the same denominator that is in our complete fraction here. Okay, and so what we're going to now change our fraction to, we're going to borrow from our 10. So instead of it being 10, the whole number is now going to be 9. And our fraction is going to be 7 over 7. So there is our regrouping. Now we're going to subtract 5 and 4 sevenths. Okay. And if you remember when we regroup, when we take 1 from our whole number, we subtract 1 from our whole number, and then we add the whole the denominator to the numerator, and the denominator stays the same. Well, in this case, we didn't have a denominator, so we had to borrow the denominator or use the denominator from the fraction here. So we have 7. So 7 plus 0 is 7. So we have 7 over 7. So now what we need to do is subtract. So we want to subtract 9 minus 5, which is 4. So that is our whole number. And then we're going to subtract 7 minus 4, which is 3. And then our denominator stays the same. So that is 7. Now, if you look at this, you will be able to tell that this fraction does not need to be reduced in lowest terms. So 4 and 3 sevenths is already in lowest terms or simplest form. So 4 and 3 sevenths is our answer. Okay. Now I am going to go back to our steps because I didn't put any other steps. So step 1 is going to make our whole number a fraction. Step 2 is we're going to use the same denominator as the complete fraction. And step 3 is to add the denominator to the numerator. Then step 4 is to subtract. Okay, so those are the steps. So this is one way. Okay, so whenever you have a problem where you have just a whole number by itself as at the beginning of the equation, you want to turn it into a fraction. Well, what if the whole number is behind the fraction? Okay, so or the second number. What if the whole number was here? Let me give you an example. So on page 119 we have 8 and 5/6 minus 6. Well, guess what? We can subtract this because we can take 6 from this whole number, or from this fraction. We can take 6 from this. If you look at this, let's say we had, if we had 8 diamonds, and these were our fractions. If we had 8 of those, we can take 6 away from that. So we can go in here and take, well, 8, and then we would have to do 5, 6, but let's just say we had this many. We can go in and we can take 6 away here. Okay, so essentially that is what we're doing. So whenever you see a fraction, an entire fraction, a mixed number and a fraction, or a whole number and a fraction, which is considered a mixed number, minus a whole number, basically all you're going to do is subtract the whole numbers and then simplify the fraction if need be. In this case, 5, 6 does not need to be simplified. So all we're looking to do here is 8 minus 6 is 2. And then we're going to bring over our fraction, which is 2 and 5, or which is 5, 6. So our answer is 2 and 5, 6. So again, these are two different problems, and we are two different types of problems, and we work them differently. We don't work them the same, because if I have a whole number, I could subtract. If I have a mixed number, a whole number and a fraction, I can subtract a whole number from that mixed number. But if I have just a whole number, I cannot subtract a mixed number from a whole number. I have to make that whole number a fraction before I could subtract from it. So I'm going to do one other similar to, okay, we see I did 8 and 5, 6. So there is one more. Okay, 12 and 4 minus 4 and 3/4. So let's work on that one. So we're going to do 12 minus 4 and 3/4. So remember, step 1, we're going to make the whole number a fraction. We're going to use the same denominator as the complete fraction, or as the mixed number, that's what I should say, and then add the denominator to the numerator and then subtract. So let's go ahead and do that, and I'm going to change this to say as the denominator as a mixed fraction. Okay, so the first thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and borrow from our whole number. So instead of this being 12, we're going to subtract 1 from 12. 12 minus 1 is 11. And then our denominator here is 4. So we're going to put 4 in the place of our denominator. And we don't have anything for our numerator, so we're going to add 4 plus 0, which is 4. Okay, and all this means is 4 over 4 is 1. Okay, so now we're going to subtract that from 4 and 3/4. So 11 minus 4 is going to be 7. That's our whole number. 4 minus 3 is going to be 1. And then we're going to carry over our denominator as 4. So 7 and 1/4. So tomorrow we will work these problems out all together. And I'm going to scour the internet to find a few more problems similar to this. I do know we have 2 in the 4th grade math book, and we'll work those tomorrow in class, maybe just those 2. And then we're going to write down the steps, step by step, just like this. We're going to write them step by step. But we're going to break it down. It'll be more than 4 steps. So I hope this helps just a little bit to But again, we'll go over this tomorrow in class, and possibly I may be able to record it tomorrow so that I can add that to our Google Classroom.